nothing but the dog in me. Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. Caught me getting into my music once again. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'll say it every time. All right. Well, we've had October was kind of a crazy month because we missed a couple shows, and last week I had a guest. So tonight's going to be kind of a catch-up night because there's been a lot of really cool things happening, and I want to share it with you guys. If anybody is familiar with Harley, now Harley is a dog who a lot of people follow on Facebook, and he is a puppy mill survivor and so much more. Now I've done my shows about puppy mills, talked about the horrors that the dogs have to endure. Harley survived 10 years in a puppy mill, in, a cage no bigger than he was, lost an eye to power washing. His body had to endure the rough life of living in a wire cage, dirty circumstances, no medical care, the typical conditions that these dogs are subjected to, and it's horrifying. It really is. Poor Harley was at one point literally thrown away like trash to die. He had gotten very sick, and as is customary in a puppy mill environment, once you're not productive anymore, your life is worth nothing because you can't produce and you can't make money for the puppy mill. So poor Harley was literally thrown away like trash, and he was actually saved by someone who had some compassion and took him to get help, and he was not expected to live. He was that sick. He was not given him they didn't give him a very long window of time to survive, and he was unfortunately a product of his environment. Now, glad to say, more than 4 years later, Harley is not only still alive, but he's involved in saving other dogs just like him. His family that adopted him, who are wonderful people, Rudy and Dan, work with National Mill Dog Rescue, and Harley's best pal, Teddy. And if you remember, I did probably a couple years ago now, the Flat Teddy, to support the cause. Harley and Teddy to the rescue all the time, bringing out these dogs from the puppy mill environment and getting them healthy and well and adopted into homes. It's beautiful to watch the stories, that they post on Facebook. And these dogs are out in Colorado. National Mill Dog Rescue's out in Colorado. So it's the kind of thing where, you watch it from afar, you love them from afar, and it's really cool. Harley was in the voting for Emerging Hero in this year's American Humane Association Hero Dog Awards. Now, not only did he win the category, but Harley was named the American Hero Dog, which is their top honor. And of course, you watch this and you're so happy for them, and you think, oh my God, it's so cool. And fans have been able to watch all of this unfolding, between the voting and the winning and the whirlwind events that were created by him winning, traveling to do meet and greets, to do TV shows, news reports, even the White House. So it's really, I'm sure a lot of you know, as fans of these Facebook dogs whose parents do so much, to watch the events, you feel so personally involved. Well, I saw a post on Harley's page saying that he was coming to New York City. Well, what was my first thought was to try to reach out and see if I could get him on the show. I mean, why not, right? Even though it seems in some ways that, what they're doing is far beyond coming here, it's possible. Hey, I had wolves on the show. I'm going to hold on to that forever. So I did. I reached out to Harley's mom, and I asked if while they were in New York, they'd be able to come on the show. Now, unfortunately, their timing was not conducive to a Saturday night, but I got a counteroffer to come to the meet and greet in New York City. Now, when I saw the post, I didn't realize that they were attending a meet and greet. So when they're like, hey, come, come and here it is and this is where and all this other, I was like, oh my God, how cool would that be? So, now you're trying in your head, you're trying to formulate a plan. How am I going to do this? Do I want to go by myself? Whatever. Well, I reached out to none other than Juno's mom. And I was like, hey, you want to go? Because I know she's friends with Harley's mom on Facebook and very much a supporter of Harley and all he stands for. So the conversation kind of went like, I'm really sick. Okay, I'm really sick too. I was almost in the emergency room that day. Okay, come on, let's go. I mean, you kind of like a once in a lifetime, you can't say no. So Deb Young, Juno's mom, recruited Gail and Bert's brigade. And we, as sick as we all were, got to remember, Bert's ma, Gail, still recovering from a broken foot. So we were like, the Gimp Squad. We all piled into the car, Juno and Bert and Gail and Deb drove down from Massachusetts, grabbed me here in Connecticut, and off we went to New York City. So I have to tell you, it was a great ride. Being in a car with those dogs was pretty cool. They were all very well behaved, I might add. But the whole day, the whole experience was nothing short of amazing. And as part of the meet and greet, I have talked about Hudson the railroad puppy before. Hudson was also a part of the meet and greet. Now, Hudson won the therapy dog category of the awards, and he was part of the meet and greet. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Hudson the railroad puppy, Hudson was one of 3 dogs that were found nailed to railroad tracks several years ago. 2 of the puppies survived, 1 did not. But Hudson and Pearl have gone on to be adopted into great homes. I believe Pearl lost some toes, but Hudson lost a part of his paw, so he has a prosthetic paw, which, if you followed his story on Facebook, as he's grown from, a puppy into an adult dog, the different pieces that had to be put on and the different sizes. And, Hudson's dad, Rich, hooked up with a really great guy who really poured his heart into making sure that Hudson's hardware was right and good and fit him correctly and served his purpose. Rich went on to get Hudson primed to be a therapy dog, and look at where he came from, and now he is the American Hero Dog Award, American Humane Association's Hero Therapy Dog, which is very cool. So this was really such a big deal. Now, Rich and Deb, they know each other, and Gail, but I'd never met Rich or Hudson, so that was an extra bonus for me. As we pulled up in front of the hotel, if you're familiar with New York City, to get anywhere close to where you're trying to be, sometimes you've got to circle around the block. So we were pulling up in front of the hotel, and sure enough, Rich and Hudson are outside, and there are some other people talking to him, and all of a sudden, they look up and they spot us, and we're all waving. Well, some fans realized that it was the Juno mobile on the prowl, and suddenly they're screaming, "Oh my God, it's Juno and it's Deb!" And it was so surreal to be in a car and having like people scream out Juno's name. But like it just added to the experience. It was really, really cool. There were so many really nice people that we met that day. And Zach, I'm going to ask you to start going through the pictures because believe me, we took plenty. Start with Harley. For those of you who aren't familiar with Harley, that's little Harley. Again, if you look at he always says on his posts he's crooked. His body did suffer being in a cage for 10 years under horrible conditions. You know, again, his eye he lost to a power washer of all things. This was the poster for the meet and greet. And there he is. And I'll tell you, he is such a tiny little guy. It's like amazing that he is still a survivor. Here's the post. Pause on this for a second now, Zach. This is the post that Harley put up on his page. We were kind of keeping it a little bit of a secret. Juno posted that she was on a secret mission. And Harley's mom put it out there that Juno was on her way. But here's the announcement that there was the meet and greet in New York and Juno was coming. And that was kind of cool to see. What do we have next, Zach? There I am. And I'm going to tell you the lighting was so horrible in this room where they had the meet and greet. It was dark with these big spotlights overhead. But I think the smile on my face says it all right there. It was just, he's just a little guy. He's so amazing. And just to be able to hold him was incredible. Next picture, Zach. That's another one of Harley kind of looking a little more forward. You can tell, again, by my smile, I was in heaven. There's Juno's mom holding Juno and Harley, and of course, you know, I had to sit in with that one. But you can see they're both about the same size. Juno's all of 6 pounds, and Harley's really about the same size. Next picture, Zach. There, even though it's dark, there's no other redhead that you can identify in that picture holding Harley, and I was so happy. Just, you know, I understand for anybody who doesn't follow dogs on Facebook or get into that whole hero worship from afar, this was just really such a moment. I've been blessed in so many ways with so many of the animals that I've met. It's incredible. And Harley was definitely a moment all the way from Colorado for all of the work that they do to speak out against puppy mills and to do so much as far as rescuing them and getting these dogs out of there and onto life. Next picture, Zach. That's Harley and Juno together. Again, they're just about the same size. It's incredible. That was like such a moment of greatness to see the two of them together, because we all know how much I love Juno and we all know how much Juno and her mom do. Totally a moment of greatness. Next picture. That's obviously Deb and Juno and Harley and his mom Rudy. I'll tell you, I can't say enough good things about Harley's parents. They exude grace and compassion and kindness, and just amazing people. Next picture. There's another picture of Juno and Harley. Next we have, there's Deb and Harley, which is a really nice picture. Lighting was good for her. I'm jealous. I get a picture. I look like a troll. She gets a good picture.
You look good.
Oh, thank you. Next picture. There I am getting to meet Hudson. There with Rich and Hudson. And next picture. Next picture. I was getting slimed. And I love it, you know, I really do. Next picture. More kisses. And we were still, that tongue was still going. Hudson was a great, great dog. It was amazing to meet him too. You can see his back leg has got the wrap and the prosthetic piece there.
I'm surprised these animals don't go mean like that for all they've been through.
Yeah,
Really surprised.
Nancy's saying she's surprised that, you know, these dogs aren't mean for all they've been through, but it's amazing the forgiving hearts that animals have. Next picture. There we have Bert's Brigade sitting on the couch. This was kind of like the couch of royalty because everybody was plopping on it and doing their visiting and just hanging out. And there's my boys, Thomas, Wyatt, and Bert. Next picture. And there they are outside. I just love these three. Next picture. We did a bunch of group shots, and there I am standing next to Harley's dad, who's holding him. And, you know, again, you see such a big guy with such a little dog, and he holds him with such love. They're just amazing people. Some of the other people that were there, that's Bacher Labradoodle, Stella the therapy dog. In one of these pictures, there's Oscar Madison, New York City. You can see Bert's Ma there in the front, the elusive Bert's Ma. Next picture. When I tell you it was surreal, you can see all these people are taking pictures. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. We were standing outside at that point, and it was just surreal. Cameras flashing, people taking pictures. This was like really a big deal, and it felt amazing, and it was so wonderful to meet so many of these people. Next up,
All rescues, right?
there's another group photo, and the young lady with the red hair and the dog in the carriage, that's Oscar Madison, NYC. But again, here we are, just like on a street in New York City, taking up the whole sidewalk, by the way, which I'm sure there was a few people who were not pleased, but whatever. Being a native New Yorker, you know, they can get over it. Scaffolding and all, just go around us. And it was just, the memories are incredible. And I wish that someone had gotten a picture. I was getting so many kisses from Harley at one point while his dad was holding him. And I really wish that there were pictures of that. If anybody's got them, let me know. Because I really, really would love to have those pictures. But, you know, again, Harley's dad holding him so lovingly, letting me stand right close, put his arm around me, just like so. I can't say enough good things about Rudy and Dan. And when Dan ever said to me that he'd seen some of my shows, it was such a moment, you know. I mean, I don't think that people are really watching sometimes, but to have somebody that you admire from afar say that, it was just amazing. Next picture. That was a nice little moment where Bert's Ma and Juno's Ma brought presents for Harley, and in the bag is a Juno bear, and it was like just a really cute moment. Next up. That's that's a great picture of Bert's Brigade and Juno's Place and Harley all together. Next up, another group shot. Next up, yeah, we were milking it, but you know, it was fun. Next up, now this is a special shout out. The two ladies that were screaming for Juno as we pulled up. This is Shannon, and the next picture is Debbie, and they were really very, very sweet ladies, and it was very nice to meet them, and it was so funny to watch them just overflow with the joy of meeting Juno and Bert. And I relate to that so much because it's like so cool to meet these dogs that you love on Facebook, and you just like in your heart, they're just part of you. And it really was, it was amazing to watch their joy. meeting Juno and Bert, and you know, I can relate. I really can, because I had that moment with Harley, definitely. And you know, it was awesome to meet Hudson too. So I can relate. And the only thing that I'm sorry I didn't think about was maybe trying to pursue, while they were in New York, getting them up here on an alternate day, Harley and Rudy and Dan, because that would have been really nice, even to be able to do like I did with the Wolves and record a show. But you know, it is what it is, and life goes on, and maybe we can do something in the future if they come back this way, or even, you know, I'm thinking maybe like a telephone thing, because that can't be all bad. So anyway, I'll take the camera back. I think that's the end of that segment, right, Zach? All right, I'll take the camera back for a second. And, you know, before Halloween, I was talking about the Sweetpea Spooktacular up in Massachusetts, and I said I was going, and I did. And you know, Halloween is my very favorite day of the year, so what better way to spend it than in a really cool environment and for a good cause. So of course, you know that it was another Juno day, Juno and Bert, and Hannah's home, and it was a really fun time. Zach, let's pull up those pictures. There we go. Now this was Juno on her trick-or-treat run. You could see she's got her little carriage, which is hilarious, and filled to the brim with candy, and she was on a roll. I love that picture. Next up, here they actually did a blessing of the animals, and yes, I'm wearing a witch hat, because what is more appropriate? But the priest or whatever, pastor, I'm not sure what you really call him from the different denominations, but he was a really cool guy. He's actually originally from New York. I think he said Larchmont. So we had a nice little conversation about, you know, moving around the country and, you know, all that, and New York, and sort of a kindred spirit. But there's Juno, probably with her tire iron in the car, getting blessed. Next picture. Mom actually dressed up as pizza, and that was really a moment. We all know Juno's obsession with pizza, so I'm sure she's going to get a lot of mileage out of that costume, because it's just funnier than I can even begin to tell you. And of course, there's Bert's Brigade all piled up in the carriage next to her. Next picture. Here's another one of our famous group shots. There's Jameson from Jameson's Journey, and there's like the Massachusetts Vesta Dog people in the background, and I think Bert's ma kind of got cut out of that picture. So did Bert and all that. See, on the screen here, it's kind of hard because things get cut off. That's Jameson, is the little black dog. Next up, that is Hannah. Hannah's home, Story of the Runaway Chihuahua. She was dressed up as a little pirate, and it looks there like she was falling asleep. She's too cute. Next up, some of the best costumes I've ever seen were Bert's Brigade this year. Bert, of course, was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. We had Wyatt was Mr. T, and we had Thomas was a bacon stuffed Kong. Let's get the close-ups of those. There's Bert. Can you even stand the cuteness? I really can't. Next, there's Mr. T, and I pity the fool. How funny is that? I mean, she did the best costumes, Gail did. She really did. Next one, there's the bacon stuffed Kong. I can't even imagine how the bacon came into that, but that's hilarious.
The bacon stuffed what?
Kong. It's a big rubber chew toy. And you can put peanut butter in it, or, you know, treats or whatever. So he's a bacon stuffed Kong. It's hilarious. I just can't even stand it. What else we got there, Zach? Oh, no, back up. I'll take the camera back. Alrighty, so that was the recap of the Sweetpea Spooktacular, and I have to tell you, Maria did a really great job. It was a fabulous event. Part of it was outdoors, part of it was indoors. There was something for everyone. It went off, I think, without a hitch. It was a lot of fun. People were all over the place, and you know, we're just having such a great time. And I'm really glad that I went. And Sue Torres was there as well, which, you know, she is my author friend who has her new book out, and we'll have her on soon to talk about that. But these are the really cool things that I've been up to that I really wanted to share with you. Again, meeting Harley, a once-in-a-lifetime thing, American hero dog, and you know, again, I can relate to all of the fan worship that so many people have for these dogs. I have an advantage because, you know, I can say, hey, you want to come on the show? And they come to me. But when you're actually going to an event and you meet the dogs and you don't know who's going to be there, it's a really cool thing. I mean, it reminds me over and over that I need to get out more. You know, I go to these things and people will say to me, oh, I saw your show. And I don't have an ego about what I do, but it really makes me feel good that people are watching. I can't tell you how much I do appreciate the viewership and the support. And, you know, if someone says, hey, you know, I appreciate what you do and you do a good job, whether I feel like I do or not, it fuels my drive to continue to try to do what I do, and have guests on and try to spread the word about, you know, the causes that I support and the animals for adoption. You know, it's awesome. Like I said, when Harley's dad ever said to me, oh yeah, I've seen some of your shows, it was just like mind-blowing, because look at all he's got on his plate, and, you know, he's taken time out to watch me. So anyway, a great big thank you to Dan and Rudy, a great big thank you to Deb and Gail, and to everybody who watches. I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.